Welcome back to the CHG podcast, everybody. And today we have another special guest, the return of Rob Goblin, Shut-Yer-Gob, Rob the boy, my secret lover that no one knows about. Oh man, it's good to
I
see
think
you
everybody
back,
knows about it.
if you know, you know, I guess.
It's quite public.
Well, I guess it doesn't help that every time we see each other, the first words out of our mouth is, "What up, sugar tits?"
Yeah, no. It leaves an impression.
But yes, Rob is back. He was one of the first guests on the podcast. And he was I think he was the second guest on the podcast a long time ago. But we got him back here, and you'll find out it's for a good reason. Hint, a lot of yelling is going to be involved.
Probably.
But I can't yell too much because it is 1 a.m. Well, almost 2 a.m. where I'm at, and I don't want to wake up my family. But luckily, I'm on the downstairs, so hopefully no one hears me. Anyway, so we're going to start this podcast as we do with all the other podcasts of what we are playing. Rob, as you're the guest, I'll let you go first. What are you playing on YouTube and off YouTube, if there's anything?
Okay. Currently on YouTube, I'm playing. I've basically decided to just play Rockstar games at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I've been very, very upset with the state of gaming.
Yes,
over the past year, it's just
so bad,
so bad, just so bad. And all I've done is try and seek good games, and they're just not it. So that I started, but I'm gonna sign up to the PlayStation Premium because there'll be all these cool games there. Oh look, there's a game that might be cool. Oh, it isn't. I've just sunk 50 hours into that. All right, cool. And I'm getting sick of the pattern. So I've just gone back to what I know and love, and I managed to pick up. My favorite Grand Theft Auto game is Grand Theft Auto 4, and the one with Nico Bellic. And
let's go bowling, Nico. Let's go bowling,
Roman. No, I don't want to go fucking bowling.
Nico, let's go bowling.
Yeah. So and I picked that up on my PC, and I just thought, you know what, man, I'm really enjoying it. So I then picked up the definitive edition of the trilogy. So I'm basically going to play. I'm playing this is channel, so I'm playing the Grand Theft Auto games in a bit of a weird order, but who cares? Everyone knows them. And then I'm going to play the Red Dead Redemption games in order, and then I've never played Bully. I never got round to Bully as a child, so I'm going to do Bully, maybe Max Payne, and I'm just lining up a year's worth of Rockstar content for the channel because I just I can't now. When I started my channel, I had all these games out there that I hadn't played that I could do blind play on, and now I've kind of in the 3 years I've kind of caught up a bit. So now I kind of want to give gaming a break from me, and go back, give it a year or so, and then hopefully in a year or so there'll be something worth playing. Yeah. But offline, just very quickly, I'm playing a lot of sort of strategy-based games on my PC. So I'm playing one called Frostpunk at the moment.
Oh yeah,
which is really cool. Trying my hand at Hearts of Iron, playing quite a bit of Paradox strategy games. Captain Noodles introduced me to a whole heap of those, and they're really cool. Stellaris.
Stellaris.
There's a really cool early access game at the moment called Cosmoteer. There's one guy. So it's one guy, and it was a Flash game, and everyone was just like, "Dude, you got to make this," and so he did. And I like it. The company is Walternate Realities, but with Walt, so like Walter, but Walternate Realities, and it's just literally one guy named Walt. And I like that, I like this. I'm where I've been able to upgrade my PC steadily over the past year or so. But it's given me access to more. So I've been just doing more.
Yeah, and it's funny because I watched him. Well, I haven't watched because he streams when I'm at work, so it's really tough for me to be in the streams very often. But I see when he's live. And I did notice when he started putting up GTA 4, and it ties in exactly to what we're going to be talking about today for why he's playing it, and also why he's playing the strategy games on his off time. It all ties into exactly what our main point, which is going to take up pretty much the entire stream, for this, guys. Like, I purposely dedicated pretty much the entire stream to this because there was so much to go over, so much to discuss. And when you add Rob into the mix, who could fill a whole time slot by himself, you know, I was like, we got to set time. We got to set time for this. So, but yeah, good to hear you playing all those good games. I do know Frostpunk is a gem amongst the strategy circles. Not my thing, but it looks cool, sounds cool, and I heard it's really good. But yeah, so far as for me, so I'm playing WRC 6.
Oh yeah.
6. Making my way. I'm making my way.
I think last time you were on like 3 or something. So
yeah, I started with 2 because the first one, the servers are shut down, so I can't get the platinum. So it's no point in me playing it. So I started with 2, and I made my way to 6 so far. And have you been platining them all the way through? Yeah. Well, because WRC, I would love to take credit for that, but WRC is actually known as a pretty easy platinum to get. They're actually really friendly to trophy people because there's no difficulty settings for. I mean, you get to play simulation mode, but you can play on easy difficulty for it. So even if you are playing with a manual, gearbox, which I know that's a little alien for me, I could still do fine because the difficulty is still easy, so it doesn't matter. And the online trophies are mainly just do a few races. That's it. It's not like you gotta be number 1 in the leaderboards or something. It's none of that. So they've actually been really fast and easy plats for me, but I'm on 6. But this is where it's still easy, but it does not get fast. They want me and this actually worked with you because you're from UK. So they want me to drive 5,000 kilometers in total drive time, which is so stupid because a single stage is only anywhere between 3 and 10 kilometers. And and there's only 4 or 5 stages in a rally, and there's only 14 rallies. So even if you did all the rallies in like one day, you're only going to get a few hundred kilometers, and you need 5,000 kilometers. Why would you do this? It's just like
I'm not really a trophy chaser, but I love the Gran Turismo game. So the latest Gran Turismo, one of the trophies is basically you have to have the 3 iconic Le Mans cars. Okay, that's not too hard, and they all bought in the legendary garage, so they all cost like 20 million credits. And I'm like, that's 60 million credits. Okay, now the top prize on the top race, which takes about an hour to complete, is about 500 grand. So you think, okay, that's cool, sort of achievable. Then you get a bit bored halfway through, and you think, and you go over to the PS store and you think, you consider buying credits. And dude, it is £20 for 2 million credits.
What?
Yeah, bruv.
$20? 20? That is a
shocking. Absolutely shocking. The grind is divine.
Damn. Is that race like one of the races, by the way? Just out of curiosity. Sorry? Is that 500,000 prize race? Is that one of the endurance races?
It's Spa-Francorchamps, and it's one of the ones where it's one where it's like 10 to 15 laps of it. It's a very long circuit, and then it rains periodically during that race, so it's very easy to screw it up. It's not an easy grind. It's because
I think
impossible.
One lap takes like 6 minutes on average, about
something like that.
Something like that. I remember I've been on that track a lot in other games, so at least it's not the other German track, the Hauschen whatever.
Oh, I love that. The Nürburgring, Nordschleife. Yeah.
Horse, whatever. But it takes like 15 minutes for like one lap, dude. That is the most nerve-wracking race I've ever done, because you get to that last track,
love it,
that last lap, and you're just like, if you mess up, that's it. And it's like you've only spent 40 minutes.
Me and Captain Noodle have been arguing about, good track or bad track, and I'm like, iconically amazing, wonderful track, and he's just like, this just serves no purpose. Like, why would you make it? Like, this isn't fun. Like, why would you? Who would just suddenly go, I know, I'm going to go left now and right now and left and then right? Why? Who would think of that? And like,
iconic doesn't mean good necessarily, because I remember I was telling you about F1, that one was it Spanish track, or that one in the city, like baked into a city. And it's
Monaco.
yeah, I hate that track with my. But you're like,
Yeah,
it's a legendary track, but
I
like,
love it.
but it still sucks. I fucking
Yeah, it's
hate this
horrible.
track. I
It's been there
fucking
since,
hate this
it's
track.
only there because they've been racing there for 100 years.
I
Like,
fucking hate that track with
yeah, it's
all my.
awful.
I will skip that.
Absolutely awful.
I will skip it. I will if I'm enough ahead. I will skip it. Especially if okay, I'll skip it if it's raining. If it's raining on that track, I skip. I don't even fuck with it. Anyway, so I'm playing WRC 6, trying to get through that grind because the grind is divine. And I'm also swapping off between Neo as well. I'm still not done with Neo and the Abyss mode. I'm at floor 700. I have 300 floors to go. I'm almost there. I may get that. I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, so far the difficulty spikes haven't been noticeable in the last couple hundred floors. I'm hoping it might just stay that way. So if it does, I think I might make it. The only thing that will screw me over is if they like put in some combination of bosses that just are just too much for me and I can't get help. And yeah, that's the only way I'm gonna get screwed. But but yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I played Ratchet and Clank. Speaking of PlayStation Plus Premium, so I have it, and they recently added the original Ratchet and Clank games. Finally, they finally added them in, and so your boy downloaded the first one and played it. Finally finished it. Got all the skill points, gold bolts, gold weapons. Pretty much done with the game. So because once you have that, it's just a matter of just.
Do they just a question? Do they, as a trophy guide, do they add now? So they've added it to the classics catalog. Do you now have trophies?
So it's a hit or miss when it comes to the classics with trophies. I've heard some old games like PS1 or PS2 games, they got trophy list added, like Siphon Filter apparently got trophies, but mostly. No, if they were just straight up ports from the PS2 PS1, then they haven't been added trophies. Now the thing with Ratchet and Clank though is that so these are the PS3 ports that they pulled for this for these editions, and they were part of the Ratchet and Clank collection back on the PS3 from way back like 2010 or whatever. And when they did that, then since it was brought to the PS3, they had to have trophies. So they already had those versions already had trophies. So when these versions got pulled, then by proxy they have trophies. However, I already have the trophies because I already have a physical copy of that collection. I just wanted to play on my PS5 just because. So I wasn't playing for trophies. I was just playing for nostalgia, just straight up nostalgia, just having a good time.
The only reason I asked is because I know it's not been ported. It's an actual remake, but I'm playing the Grand Theft Auto 3. Do you remember there was that mission where you had to steal the dude's car outside the cafe, go and get it bombed, and then put it back without getting any damage? Right? You
need to remember, I have never played GTA.
Oh, okay, right. Okay.
So I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. So anyway, there's this really iconic mission.
Okay.
It was almost impossible to do. You had to get the car, take it 5 or 6 corners, park, get a bomb, come back, put it there in the time limit. Couldn't take damage. If you took damage, you'd have to go and get it sprayed.
Oh, damn.
Right? So now this was like it was a control pad breaker back in the day. And anyway, so I'm playing the definitive edition. Don't even know how or why. I'm live, so I'm just in my own space. And I grabbed the car, fly down there, grabbed the bomb, fly back, took no damage, pulled into the thing, bam, got a gold trophy. When I looked at the gold trophy said, if you do it first time as well. So if I'd fucked it up, it would not have given it to me. You had to do it first time on your playthrough, like one of these hidden. And I'm blown away. I'm like, so I know there was no trophy list back then. So whoever has come up with the trophies to add into Grand Theft Auto 3 clearly got fucked over by this mission several times when he played it or she played it through, and was like, "That's a gold trophy right there, son. If you could do that first time." And I was just blown away by like this sort of more modernish concept of trophies applied to classic games. And it's like, you get someone that knows the game and they're like, dude, that's a trophy right there. That ain't just any trophy. That's a gold trophy.
It should. I mean, there are some games where as a trophy person, I constantly relook at trophy lists that I've done. And I'm like, that bullshit should have been a silver or a gold trophy
Yeah.
or something, right? It should have been, that should have been way more than what I did. Like famously, Bethesda basically gave a fuck you to trophy people with Wolfenstein 2. The Mein Leben, or however you say it, the trophy, where you need to beat the game on Mein Leben difficulty, which is basically permadeath. On I think it's on the hardest difficulty, but permadeath as well. You have one shot to get through the whole game. It's a bronze. It's a bronze. It's a bronze trophy. It is the lowest tier trophy. It is the biggest. It is the biggest fuck you to develop like the trophy people ever. I don't have it, but I know about it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's the Holy Grail trophy.
It's one of them. There's a good few, but that's definitely going to be one of them as the years go on. But yeah, so that's what we're playing. Normally we have like some kind of filler question to kind of break the ice or get a little funness in here. But you know what, Rob and I are already secret lovers anyway, so we don't need that shit. And also, we need to get right to this fucking bullshit. So this week's podcast is going to basically be about what Rob foreshadowed about the state of games, particularly with AAA. All right. Now I took the liberty to pull up a list of all the games this year, all the games that came out this year so far, not December, not including December, because that hasn't happened when this recording is doing. But from January to November 2022, went through all the games and I pulled the ones. I made two separate lists, ones that were good, that were amongst the bigger releases. So I try to stay away from sports titles, race titles, DLC expansions, re-releases, unless they were specifically significant in one way or another. They were usually removed. I didn't include COD or anything because it's just rather than however you feel about it, there's always going to be a level of expectance, of quality, of whatever have you, whether or not you don't like the style of the games, which Rob and I don't like COD, but to say that like they don't have like a certain level of polish, I can't sit here and say that they don't. Right.
I'm watching a friend of mine play COD, and like he just the look of the graphics on the gun, and it's like
fidelity is insane.
Yeah, I'm just
but at the end of the day, it's like, but it's COD.
Yeah, but I can't criticize it because you look at it and you're like, shit. Like, I wish the games I liked this year.
I know, right? Like which we got the same treatment. But anyway, so that's a caveat for the good and the bad list. So if you're like, oh, but this game, why is this game on there or not on there? It's like, well, in my opinion, it wasn't a AAA or a really, really crazy big release, or it was considered something like DLC or whatever like that. So like it was like Weird West was a good game, but it was more of a smaller scale. So anyway, so. The point of this is because, and I know Rob's been probably noticing because he's been streaming all the time, playing the bigger games. I've just been a general industry watcher who keeps track of all this shit. AAA games, AAA space has been shit this year, pretty much. It's been mostly shit, and you've had to basically gone other routes if you wanted to play good, solid games. Either you go to Steam to the whole indie section, or you go to the stores, PlayStation, Xbox store, Switch store, to find like some of these smaller, lesser known titles that are still really good with a lot of love. Or you have AA or single A developers who are putting out games that maybe got a little bit of publicity that ended up being really good. Really solid games that actually have some actual good integrity behind them. Only a few major games this year, in our opinions, actually held up their end of the bargain. So that's the point of all this, and we're going to discuss it. But you got a question? Were you going to ask a question though?
No, I just said if that. I just said if it, like you said, there was only a couple that sort of.
Oh, if that. Okay, yeah.
If that,
So this is going to go from the top to bottom, from January up until this year. So with the good, we'll start with the good, which by the way is twice as small than the bad. Just so you know. But anyways, so we have Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch, which was really good. Pokemon Arceus. That one was really good because that was the final. That was like the first time people were like, finally something new with Pokemon.
Even me, I've never been a Nintendo guy.
I know you haven't. You had
no. Even though I've never been a Nintendo guy, I looked at that game and I was like, that looks really fun. Like that.
Oh yes. Okay, cool.
I played a bit of Pokemon Go. But off the back of that, I looked at people playing it, and I was like, "That looks really cool."
Yeah, it was finally something different and more like something you might be interested in.
Well, the whole concept for me of Pokemon is fantastic. I mean, but like, just do it properly, and they did. So
yeah, that's like the closest thing to what a lot of people have been asking for years with Pokemon, and we finally got like the closest thing we're ever gonna get. But anyway, so Arceus was great. Dying Light 2 was a solid game. I'm gonna put it on there. It had some glitches and issues here and there, but like it was a solid game, reviewed well, didn't have egregious microtransactions or anything like that. So that's on there. Horizon Forbidden West, that's a surefire one, of course. Elden Ring, even though it's not your cup of tea, and a lot of people's cup of tea. I mean, you can't deny it. So great. That's on there. I put Ghostwire Tokyo. People forgot about it, and I think it's because it came out. It came out at the same time Elden Ring came out, so that was their. I think that was their biggest mistake. If that game had came out in the summer, it probably would have done much better. But it still reviewed well. It just didn't. It just kind of just under the foreshadow of Elden Ring. Kirby in the Forgotten Land. The best Kirby game ever made, apparently, according to people who played it. So Kirby's on there.
A good friend of mine is on YouTube. Who's playing it as well.
A lot of people played it.
Doing very well with it.
No one who's played it said it was bad. Everyone loved this freaking game. So Kirby's on there. And then Tiny Tina's. I put that on there because it was just like it was unoffensive. It was basically what you wanted. If you like Borderlands, you like this. They kind of, they went kind of more hardcore with the RPG elements, but
then I liked,
Okay. I mean, like I say, like it's not. You can't say it's bad. It did what it needed to do.
I don't want to pass comment on it because I haven't played it yet. I will play it.
Okay.
Tiny Tina's was not one that I looked at when I looked at the slate of games, and obviously you know how it is when you're buying games. You have money, and you're like, well, what am I going to prioritize this year? What am I going to play on release day? What am I going to leave till the following year? And Tiny Tina's, because obviously having played all of the Borderlands games, that was definitely on a to play list. But issues with Borderlands 3 I had made me think I'm not going to do this on day one release. That's my boy. So he's so it was just one that I decided that I wasn't going to do on day one release, but I will play it. So no, I mean it is fine. I mean I guess caveat, I haven't played all of these games. Most of them I actually haven't played, but it's just I follow them enough that I know enough to speak on them. Or I have seen people play them and I can speak to it, right? Because I mean no one can really play fucking all these games, like no. But what I mean is just like when you're looking at the trailers and the upcomings, you sort of break it down and might go, oh, that looks really good. That looks like I will enjoy that. So I'm going to buy that when it comes out. Or you put it in the next category of, well, I really want to play that, but, I don't think I'm going to buy it on release day because it's a bit close to this. And then I would have spent £120 in a month on games. So, and I do it anyway. I break things down into lists. It's mad.
There's a little guy again.
No,
I hear what you're saying. You're making total sense. I'm just saying though that it's fine you didn't play them because I haven't. But it's just when you've either watched enough of it or you followed enough of it after it comes out. And
it did. I watched a couple of playthroughs of Tiny Tina's,
and so. Tiny Tina's got to be on there, especially with the crop of games this year. It's definitely going to be on the gooder side. PC side, Crusader Kings 3, I believe. That was for PC strategy fans and stuff. That was a phenomenal game from what I've read and heard. So that's going to be on there. But of course, it's a PC, so not people know about PC strategy games and shit. But giving it its due, giving it a shine for you strategy lovers out there. The Cuphead DLC. Now, this is one of the few moments where I'm bringing up DLC because we've been waiting for this for 4 years. So it came out. It was great. I played it. I streamed it. And I even did a collab on the boss rankings with Gemini. You can check it on his channel. So that's phenomenal. No More Heroes 3 came out. Finally left the Switch and it came out for other consoles. And that did well. Bayonetta 3. I mean, come on. There was no chance it was going to do bad. It's Bayonetta, man. All three of those games have been great. And then I put Sonic on here. And I put it with the caveat. Well,
Frontiers.
Frontiers. I put Frontiers on here because with the caveat, like the asterisk of it is great, especially when you look at it and consider of being a Sonic game. And it's probably one of the best Sonic games, regardless of finish or not. It's one of the best Sonic games that have come out in a long time.
I got it for my son. It released the day before his birthday.
Nice.
And he loves Sonic Racing. And we got it for him, and it was quite disappointing.
Well, was he disappointed?
Yeah. yeah. You saw. I mean, honestly, he just didn't really know what to make of it. And
Well, it's an open world game, and is it the son that was best running around?
Just running around, yeah.
I mean, I could maybe see why. It's a lot to take in for
but
a youngin.
It is, but I don't know. I don't know yet. Maybe I haven't played it enough. We played it a little bit, a couple of hours here and there, and it is the potential to be a brilliant game, but it just doesn't feel finished.
Well,
and that's my main gripe about games at the moment.
And your point is valid, but the thing with Sonic is kind of a special.
It's
category.
Iconic, isn't it?
You know. It's a special category when it comes to games, right? I can't compare a Sonic game to like any other type of game. You know?
No.
Because it's like a self-contained genre. Sonic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I bring up Sonic, I don't mean in the sense of like it's a game of the year contender. But it's when it comes to a Sonic game, it made a lot of people happy.
So a lot of
duds.
A lot of people didn't like Sonic Forces, but again, playing that with my son, I loved Sonic Forces. I thought it was great.
Maybe you're just an opposite person. Sonic.
I don't know.
but a lot of people hated Sonic Forces. And that was like the last original Sonic game we had in years. And I mean, you can just look at the last 10 years of Sonic 3D games, and there's only been like 3 that have been good. So this is one of the best ones. So that's why it's on there. I'm just giving the Sonic fans their shout out. This is one of the better ones. Blah blah blah. Anyways, and then lastly, God of War, because of course, God of War has been killing it. It's one of Sony's best selling IPs or best selling games so far, like in this generation or ever or something like that. So like it's been doing great, regardless of whether it's your style of game. You can't deny God of War is a polished, solid, detailed game. So that's all the good stuff. Now it's time for the bad stuff, which is the fun stuff.
It's much easier to talk about bad games than it is to talk about good games.
So we're gonna start with Rainbow Six Extraction, which was boring and bland. Came out in January. You probably forgot it even came out when I mentioned it.
It's not something that I follow.
I forgot that it came out when I looked it up. I was like, what? I was like, oh man, that game did come out this year.
It says it all, doesn't it, really?
It was a boring, bland game. It was kind of like, it was like trying to, it was like, why do you make this? It was like it was supposed to be like a tactical squad based, kind of like, Rainbow Six Vegas and stuff like that. But like, why would you do that when you already have Siege? Like, exactly. Siege is just killing it. Like, I mean, yes, this is a single player, or it can be single player, it's like offline, whatever. Like, it's not just online multiplayer. I get it, but like, no one cares when you have Siege. So
exactly.
And the Siege players aren't asking.
It's like a tax, isn't it? It's like, oh, there you go, we're going to tax you another 50.
Kind of like that, but it's kind of like it's just it's what's called like cannibalizing. The sales of another game, and so it's like because the Siege players, who probably be the most likely to play Rainbow Six Extraction, they're not asking for something like Rainbow Six Extraction. They just want Siege. Just give me more Siege. Just give me more fucking Siege. I don't need distraction. So that game fucking like right away. Next, Kingdom Hearts. A lot of Kingdom Hearts games that were ported to Switch were garbage because they were cloud versions. They had to run on the cloud, which the Switch couldn't handle it. I don't know if you saw that, but it was a lot of the re-release, like the collection re-releases from back in the day. They finally ported them to the Switch. And is that
the Switch's answer to what PlayStation have just done with their cloud gaming?
I think so. I think it's comparable, but I can tell you at least with and here's the thing. I don't know if it's a matter of the ports, maybe like on I forget who makes them, but developers. I don't know if it's more on their side that why they sucked, or more on Nintendo's servers not being strong enough to play the games well enough, right, to get the bandwidth and the data. But regardless of what happened, the result was that they all ran terrible. Just garbage. It was like, I would rather have nothing than have this. So
I would rather sit there with nothing. Than play your game.
You give me the shitty port that I can barely play. So that's on there just because it was. I mean, there's not many ports in this list, but like that was one in particular because that was a big deal. Because Nintendo and Kingdom Hearts fans very much are aligned. So to give them a shitty port like this, it was a big deal. Babylon's Fall, just an utter fail, just a complete failure. I think the servers are shutting down pretty soon for that game. It was supposed to be like a PS5 exclusive for a little while, and it just tanked. Just just bland, boring, nothing original, everything repetitive. Just basically the modem for this year. So Babylon's Fall. I put this on the list, but I'm going to need you to clarify because you are the expert. I put GT7, and I put it because, if I remember correctly, weren't there some big issues when it launched? Or am I mistaken?
You say issues when it launched. It kind of, excuse me.
I guess I'm not being specific, but that's kind of why I need you here to kind of, because I remember you talking about some quick things, some
Well,
bad things were happening with that game when it launched.
I loved it from the off.
Okay.
There were a lot of things in it that were missing.
Mm-hmm.
So from previous editions, like the ability to sell cars only came out yesterday, and that game released. Excuse me, released quite a while ago now, and now yesterday, in line with the 25-year anniversary celebration of the game, they put that in. So there's a lot of features in there that they've sort of obviously held back, to release later.
Yeah.
Which, it is kind of, it's a bit insulting because it's you don't need to build hype. So whenever they go, oh, what we're going to do, we're going to bring this to the game, we're going to bring that to the game. So they're expecting their game to peaks and troughs, right? Popularity. Oh, it's really popular. Oh, we're going to come down. Oh, we're going to let you sell your cars. Oh, yeah, popularity's back up again. And I think on a title like Gran Turismo, it speaks for itself. Just give me the game. It's Gran Turismo. You've either nailed it or you haven't.
Yeah. And I think that was the point
but
why I put it on the list.
Maybe. I mean, I could see your argument for it, but I was just so pleased to
because you're such a Gran Turismo mega fan, right? I mean, it's still good.
It's done
I'm not
very well.
Bad.
It has done very well, and it's gorgeous. The graphics.
I guess I put it more of a disappointment rather than a bad game because if I remember correctly, I think you had mentioned it was just missing features that you like. I mean, after GT Sport kind of was like a bit of a hit or miss, expecting kind of, I can imagine people like yourself and a lot of mega fans of Gran Turismo or just racing in general, after Gran Turismo or GT Sport was like, oh, I mean, this is nice, but not exactly what we want. So when GT7 comes out, I was like, okay, this will be it. This is the true successor for GT6.
Yes,
and I think
it is though. Like it.
Okay, so
for me, Gran Turismo Sport, I didn't enjoy it. It didn't have the main sort of single player campaign that I felt defined those games. And this one does. I mean, it does, and then some. So
okay. See, this is why that was a caveat. I wasn't entirely sure.
No. But my friend, the guy whose championship I race in, Super 25 night, he runs a championship, 25 race championship on his channel that I've taken part in this year, and he hates it compared to sport because there's so many features missing from creating lobbies. He used to be able to. So like one of the things when we qualify, for example, sometimes if the lobby crashes and we've done half an hour qualifying time, and it crashes, he used to be able to say put the people in the order, so like we'd remember, and as the owner of the lobby, he could then say he can't do that anymore. There's loads of shit that was really helpful for him as somebody running a race, like creator perks that aren't there anymore. So he's quite disappointed with that side of it.
Interesting. I guess it's more of just as like, again, GT7 is not a bad game. I was not putting this list for a bad game. It was more of like, I think for some, it left some people still like feeling like this should have been much bigger.
Can I just take a quick break just to get a drink?
Yeah, we can. I can always cut it. Yeah,
we'll cut it. I don't know
cutting now.
I'll be a minute.
Yeah, it's fine.
Right, you need to stop doing that. Just putting me off. Ollie? Ollie? Oh, do you know what?
And he's back.
I am.
Just let me know when you're good to go.
Sorry.
Yep.
Right, good to go.
And we're back. Yeah, so let's continue on with the next game here. So G7, maybe not, but the point was that this wasn't like what a lot of people thought. They were expecting, just everything. You know what I mean? Like just this everything.
Yeah.
In some respects, it did, but in some respects, it didn't. So I think that was like the point.
There is a huge case as well for it being on the bad list because there's been so many arguments about the pay to play, pay to win.
Yeah, because you were telling me that you just mentioned a little bit ago about the cost of the credits.
Come down. That's actually come down off the back of community pressure.
Oh,
and having some of the better cars behind paywalls and things like that.
So there's that. There you go.
Yeah.
And the next is Stranger of Paradise, the Final Fantasy Origins. That was not necessarily bad, but it was definitely just meh for a game that was supposed to be retelling Final Fantasy's origin. Like the first game, it was like you would probably have something a bit better, but it was like eh. Godfall also flop. Did not do well at all. The House of Dead remake's on here because it was like a faithful remake, but like it was kind of bare bones at the same time. Like it just wasn't. It could have done much more, with itself, which is funny because especially after we've actually seen so many remakes come out that have actually been really good. It's like it makes this less forgivable because of the fact. Vampire Masquerade Swan Song did not do well. When it's like, bro, we've been with us not getting Vampire Masquerades 2. It's like you give us this to maybe placate us, but then it's bad. So it's like
I'm not going to buy the next one now, am I?
Yeah. So it's like
I literally that game installed the game, played 2 rounds, uninstalled the game, and never spoke of it again. Like literally, it was like I've never not had anything good to say about a game. Nothing.
There you go.
Absolutely nothing about that game.
And that's why it's on the list. So this breaks my heart. I put Trek to Yomi. It was more of a smaller scale game, but it got a lot of hype. But it was kind of just like this game is more of like it definitely needs just more budget, just more time to bake, more people behind it, more money to put to it. And I think if it did have more of that support, it could have been much better. But for what we got, it was kind of just meh. It could be much. I still want to play it. I still want to give it a go, but it could have been much better. Diablo Immortal on the mobile because, of course that's on there. I don't even think we need to explain why it's on there.
Yeah.
But that's on there. Sonic Origins, the collection. I put that on the bad one because I know that was more of a sense of, I think it had performance issues, but the big thing was I had a weird pre-order structure with certain stupid things being locked behind special editions that really should not have been locked. Like I think it was like some animations were locked, maybe some background music was locked. It was like, dude, this is background music.
Why would background? I mean, I haven't heard any of this. This is all new.
I'll have to.
Why the hell would background music be? Oh, look at me, Mom! I've unlocked the background music. I can finally have a full immersive experience.
Now, you Sonic fans that might be watching this, you can correct me in the comments about exactly what it was. But there was some stupid stuff that was locked behind some of the special editions with that game, which didn't make any sense. And then when it did launch, it still felt a little lacking in some respects, from what I remember reading about it. So like it was like for a game that's supposed to be like a love letter to the classic Sonic games, like this is the best you could do. Like it's like, dude, how are you gonna do better or do worse than Sonic Mania that came out 2 years before this, or 3 years before this? It's like, come on guys, you could do better than this. So that was a bit of a failure. And then here we go, here's the fun ones. We got the fun ones now, the more ones in the memory. Saints Row, the reboot, which was not good, and I don't care what anyone says. You may like it, and hey,
you won't catch me saying anything.
You might like it, people, and good on you. But you cannot go around saying that it is an objectively good game.
I've not heard anyone say it's good either. I've seen
people stream it and say it was fine.
I know there's people playing it, who kind of are like, well, I'm going to play it because I bought it type of thing. But, you know, they would still turn around and say...
Which, for those people, I feel so bad for them. For those, I mean, you and I know some of them, you know, who like stream it and stuff. I'm like, I feel bad for you. Just stop playing.
Well, I mean, it happened to me. I'm sure the game that it happened to me with is going to be on the list.
Oh, it'll be on there. I know what game you're talking about. It's going to be on there. It's going to be on the list.
But Saints Row for me was one that it was like, after having such a shitty year so far, I never played a Saints Row game in my life because when I'm a huge Grand Theft Auto fan. So
yeah.
Way back in the day when Saints Row came out, I just saw it as a knockoff, so I just didn't play it. I was like, "It's a Grand Theft Auto knockoff. I'm not playing it." Yeah. So I don't even have any connection to the franchise, and I was considering buying it because the slate of games this year had been so awful. I was like, "Oh, they're saying it's a reboot. That means this is my time to jump in, and you know, I can get this whole new franchise that everyone loves." But I, because I'm stubborn, just didn't. And then it was like, you know, that just to me, the fact that I was drawn to a very bad game because the state of gaming is so awful.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then that was awful.
Yeah, when that was bad too. Here's the funny thing. I mean, I never played Saints Row either myself. Not for the same reason. I just haven't gotten around to it. But I saw the reboot and I was like, this doesn't look like Saints Row. This looks garbage. I mean, I'm sorry that you thought it was okay. That's whatever. But like, I remember seeing this thing. This isn't gonna be good. It didn't even look good. The characters that they were showing off, I was like, this isn't Saints Row. It doesn't do with a fucking bow tie. This isn't Saints Row. Like, so I'm happy it failed. Honest, I'm happy it sounds evil, but I don't care, and I'm happy it failed because then it'll maybe kick them in the ass and make them make something better if they decide to go back. But like, I feel bad for some people who played it, and I'm just like, this isn't. You're not having a good time. Don't even try to fuck with me.
It's a tax, man. It's a tax on gamers. It's like, you know, you charge ridiculously large amounts of money. I mean, I know you did. I bought my PS5 from a less than reputable source. You know, I did. You know, so you've got a tax on that because you're not paying off the shelves. You get taxed for that. Then they tax you to play the games because you have to have the PS Plus and all this shit. Then they tax you by, you know, giving you shit games. At least give me 2 or 3 good games in a year out of the 35.
This is why I don't. That's why like people are
it's
like,
just a tax. Games. It's not taxing geeks. It's not fair.
Buy games. I don't buy games, man. This is part of the reason why. Because it's like, why would I when I don't have? I'm rolling the dice on whether it would be good or not. So, anyway, so that's the first one. Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed. This is a surprising one because the first remake was really good, but for some reason the second remake was garbage, and I'm like, what happened? How do you have a good first but not bad?
I mean, that was such an iconic, the original one. Yeah, so iconic. How can you fuck that up?
I don't know how. Like, remember the first one is good. Like, 9s and 8s, great remake. People are like, absolutely, it's what we wanted. I don't know what the fuck they did with 2, but they fucked it up and it did terrible. So that's on the list. Here's an interesting one. So I put Last of Us Part 1, not necessarily because it's a bad game, but because there's so much controversy with the fact that, like, should it even existed? What does it really do? Why is it here? Does it need to be here? And when we got it, it was like, cool. It's Last of Us. You know, it's like, what do you get? Like, it's still great, but it's like, this doesn't do anything.
How many versions do there need to be of the same game?
Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing.
After a remaster, what? Okay, so technology's moved forward. I'm not saying this is the reason why, but so if it say, you know, I make a game, technology takes 2 generation steps forward. The game was iconic, so it gets a remaster. Brilliant. But that doesn't mean that it should then get the remaster should get a remaster further down the line. Like, for fuck's sake, you've made the game. If you want to remaster it as a love letter to the game that you created, then do it and give it away. Don't fucking charge full price for it again and again and again and again.
Yeah, in fact, the fact it was $70 too was a cool slap in the face.
It's insulting.
And then when they make the special edition a Sony store exclusive and it sells out like immediately, like, I'm like, yo, what? Are you kidding me? And like, so I was, because I'm here's the thing, I will eventually play the remake because I'm interested to see how it goes, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, for $70, no. For $50, no. Like,
when it's the monthly game on the PlayStation Store,
there we go. That's when I'll download it.
Library.
Especially when you have other games that could get one. You know, Bloodborne's a big one people have been asking for fucking ever. It'd be great if the original God of War 2018 got a port for PS5. Horizon Zero Dawn, that would be great. You know, so it's like you have all these other games that people actually would have no problems rebuying. You know, in the face, it's like, fuck all those. Let's just do Last of Us again. So that's why that's on this list. Not because it's bad. It's Last of Us. Don't get me wrong. It's Last of Us, but it's on this reason because it just adds to the shit. So, and then I put Steel Rising mainly because it was kind of just an okay game. It was hyped up to be some big ass things, and the next, not the next, but like another really great Souls-like to be in that space, and it was like, eh. So that's on there. You may not relate to this one as much, but I put Session Skate Sim. This is more for me. I'm a huge skateboard guy, stuff like that. But put it in there because it's way too fucking hard. But not for the good reason. Not for the good reasons.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It's not challenging. It's just hard. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just making it too convoluted, and that's why it's hard. Because you're just adding because it's like they're trying to figure out ways. Okay, how can we find new ways for you to do tricks without doing the stuff that Skate did? And so they had to come up with all these crazy ass things, and I'm just like, no. And also they usually come up bare bones, like very small packages. Like they price you like $40 or so, but they give you like barely any game. So I'm like, no, fuck you. And then here's a big one, Overwatch 2. That's on the list because it deserves to be on the list, even if you didn't even consider the mobile phone bullshit that they were doing. Even if you didn't even include that, it would be on this list. Because my sister's boyfriend, big Overwatch fan, big big Overwatch guy, and we talked about it the other day for Thanksgiving, and he was like, he brought up the phone thing. I was like, well, let's not even talk about that. I was like, bro, do you really feel like this is the next evolution of Overwatch? She was like, yeah, no. I was like, yeah, does it just feel like Overwatch 1? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, that's the point. They did nothing new with this game. So, and the fact that they took out the PvE, which was the big selling point for Overwatch 2, right? It was actually supposed to be a single player campaign. They took it out because it was like, that won't make us money. Fuck them. So let's just do what we know will work because our fans don't care. So let's just do Overwatch 2. So, but yeah, I mean, here's the thing, and I understand it has like tens of millions of players. I'm not ignorant to that, people. It does not mean it's a good game. Let's just make that perfectly clear.
Well, I mean, it's like the Fortnite thing, isn't it? Is Fortnite a good game? Like, I mean,
I don't think so. But,
I don't think so. I'm not saying that there's no capacity to have fun whilst playing it. Of course, there is, but I don't believe it's a good game, and it's still one of the most hugely popular and most played games out there. So you can't, but is it a good game? Like it's what do you use to define what is a good game?
Yeah, obviously that's subjective, but I feel but for something like Overwatch 2, it was like because it's so dissimilar. Because it's so similar from Overwatch 1. It's like, why does it exist? You know what I mean? So like that's kind of like this is like the argument I'm trying to make for that particular one. It was like there's nothing new. It doesn't like revolutionize the formula or any of the characters or anything like that in like drastic ways to warrant a sequel. So it's like, so that's why it's on here. I put New Tales from the Borderlands, not necessarily AAA, but it was a big hype game because like it was first because people love Tales from the Borderlands. I played it. Yeah, great game. But I remember, New Tales did not do well. Funny, if you go to Metacritic, so critically it's like whatever, like 70, 60 or whatever, but the user score is like a 4 or something. Like it's just tanked it, which I understand because like it was like I remember watching it. I was like, this doesn't have the same feel as the original Tales from the Borderlands at all. And so,
why is that? What makes you think that?
The characters don't have the same personality, the same lovable, charming personalities that I got, that I grew to love with the first two, Fiona and Rin, or whatever his name is. And then, obviously, I'm sure there's other characters in the New Tales that I don't know about, but like, I mean, because like all we saw right at first was like, because like it plays the same as the other ones, episodic, point and click style, whatever, right? So gameplay wise, I'm not going to care. But it's like the characters, I'm like, well, this doesn't feel.
But when you have a game that's like point and click, that's where you have to make it a great game is by giving characters.
That's what I'm saying.
You're not going to be swayed by great gameplay because the gameplay is not what's on. is not what's trying to be highlighted. It's the story.
Yes, the story and the characters, and I wasn't attached to it at all. And so I'm not surprised that the people didn't like it. Maybe reviewers were nice, but the people, the gamers, they weren't. They didn't like it at all.
Best piece of advice I've been given recently this year, like I said before this, started playing a bit more PC-based gaming, a few more PC-based games. Best piece of advice I've been given by my friend Captain Noodle is check user reviews on Steam. So Metacritic, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Check them as well, but just go to Steam and just read reviews, because they're the gamers. They're the people that have played it. They're the people that picked it up and played it, and then they've reviewed it, and ultimately they're probably going to give you more the more honesty than.
I would say generally that is true. I mean, obviously, there's always review bombing, which is like, well, fuck, you got to make sure, like, are people just review bombing this game, or are they legitimately upset, right?
Yeah.
Because like when I looked at Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which, by the way, on the list, it has the user score of like a 3 or something crazy, and I was like, what? And I was on the last podcast with David and
Pokemon.
So I was like, wait, what? So, and then David looked it up because it was on the podcast last week, and he was like saying, he was like, people were saying about the glitches, and I was like, well, really? But review it a 3 and 2 and a 0? But then I watched another video who recapped it, and they were like, no, yeah, this game is buggy as fuck. Like, this is the buggiest Pokemon game. Like, this is unacceptable buggy level. I was like, real what? So, like, okay, I understand. At least they weren't just review bombing. They were actually, it was legitimate. It was actually performance issues. But sometimes it is real review bombing too. I do agree. User reviews are where you're going to get more of a more passionate actual, review wise. But sometimes not always the case. So it's a give and take. But anyways, the Resident Evil 8 DLC let down across the board. Most people, no one was like best DLC. No. Everyone was like, meh. I watched a couple people stream it. They were like, it's not that great.
I think it's indicative of a wider problem.
Well, it's
a wider. Yeah. I mean,
I'm sure you can get to it in a second, but we have three more games. All
right, cool.
And here's yours, Gotham Knights.
Great game. Having it. We're done here.
10 out of 10.
Get out of my face.
5 stars, A+, 4 stars, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Best game. Yeah. Gotham Knights.
It is a good game. It was hugely disappointing, but it is a good game.
Hey man, a lot of people that's kinder than a lot of people were saying with this game. It's let down through and through. That's for damn sure.
100%. There's no way of hiding it. It was a letdown.
I watched a video that was hypothesizing that people. He was saying a hypothesis that people think that the developers were trying to make something akin to Marvel's Avengers, but then they saw how bad that game did, and then they had to cut it back, but they couldn't get rid of everything, and so that's why the game kind of feels in some ways kind of like it.
I don't know.
Or has some resemblance to it.
I've never played Marvel's Avengers, so I couldn't
have you seen much of it?
I've seen it, and I find it just looks soulless.
And I think
I'm kind of like that with multi-character games. I like a single protagonist again, but this is objective and subjective stuff again. But I like single protagonists. Well, don't get me wrong. Playing Gotham, that 3 of the 4 protagonists are actually quite fun to play as. So 3 of the 4 characters, and that's quite unusual in and of itself. But like for example, like the Grand Theft Auto games, like 5, meh, it was a good story, but I found it quite meh because it was additional characters. Like you could have, I like the one character, that's how I get invested, but that's a personal thing. But with Gotham, with Avengers, it looks like the characters aren't particularly engaging because there's so many of them, but in Gotham they kind of still are. So I don't think it's that's caused it. I think the game is, I don't know, I think it's had a lot of hatred. It is a solid game. It's not an Arkham game, which is why everyone's pissed, and they never claimed to be an Arkham game. So it's,
I mean, I will say I never went into it expecting it an Arkham game myself personally. But when I've seen it, no, I haven't. Admittedly, I haven't played it, but I've seen a lot of people play in it. And when I've seen, I don't know if I would go as far as say soulless like Marvel's Avengers, but it does seem repetitive a bit samey, a bit. You're doing the exact same thing, just in different sceneries.
It's very. You see, I went into it going right, full hardest difficulty, and this will also tie in. In fact, we could do this after if you want, because I know I can use. I want to tie this into the God of War as well.
Okay.
Because it's when you want to play on the higher difficulties, it becomes ridiculously grindy. I've released a short of, literally me speeding up a boss fight to like ×5 and adding silly music over the top to highlight just how grindy the game is. Like, no word of a lie, there was a boss fight and then a Mr. Freeze boss fight, and on the hardest difficulty it took me over an hour, and that's not. It took me probably about 3 hours in total, because the hour run was the one where I didn't die. So just a straight run through on the hardest level, top tier difficulty, took an hour. Like, that is just too much too much health points, man. What you doing? Like, you know, that is just, everyone is just way too tanky. Even the standard sort of upper level thugs. So you got the standard goon, who, they're quite tanky, and then you get the thug guy who's got a shield, and you're there for like 30 minutes doing the same 7 moves. Like, you're like, come on, man. Sooner or later you've got to die. And this is why the only non-fun character in that game, Jason Todd, Red Hood, he's a gun. You have to shoot somebody like 8,000 times in this game to kill him as Red Hood.
I will say
it almost glorifies gun crime, because gun. Do you know what I mean? It's just like continual, like, die. Like, you shoot someone once with a gun, they die. Like, you know what I mean? I know there's almost like in games you get a little bit of creative license. Maybe you can shoot them 3 or 4 times and they die. But seriously, like, I'll pumped like 180 bullets into someone, he's still coming. I'm just like, I can't play with this character. This character's dead to me.
Even though this is not an Arkham game, I think in this case of difficulty, it can be used as a good point, because I've played, I don't know if Origins maybe do it, but I know on Asylum and on maybe City as well, they want you to play on hard mode for platinum trophies, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So I did. And there is very little difference between the damage that you do to enemies, whether you're on easy or hard. Mm-hmm. And hard is their hardest difficulty. So I will say, like, even though you take more hits, you take like 3 hits at most or whatever, you do about the same amount of damage. So all it really means is you have to just be more careful dodging, and be more defensive.
Like, talking about this game,
can do enough damage all the same. So I'm saying, I know it's not an Arkham game, but they could have looked at Arkham's difficulty.
They should have made it. Yeah, like, see, that's my gripe with the God of War games. The first one, I'm going to love this, like, blah blah blah, and so I was playing it on the hardest mode, and everyone just became too tanky. It was just like this, as you increase difficulty, make it easier for me to die. Don't make it harder for me to kill the enemies. That's silly. Yeah,
I mean, I guess maybe the only reason why it might be different is because I know God of War and Gotham Knights' case, from what I understand. I know God of War for sure. I might be wrong with Gotham Knights, but it's gear based, right? You level up your stats, stat based, gear based.
Yeah.
Whereas the old Arkham games, not stat based. You got gear and gadgets, but it wasn't stat based.
That was the element of Gotham Knights that I really enjoyed. I loved the elemental stuff, and I'm probably about 3/4 of the way through it. So, and I've bailed on it now. It's gone. I will finish it myself, I would assume, but it's not. It's finished on my channel. But yeah, no, that I did like that. As I've got through further into the game, it's becoming easier, which again is kind of wrong, right? Because it's becoming easier because my avatar, my character that I'm playing as, has become tougher because I've leveled them up. It's not scaled properly,
and that's why I think
it just goes in as hard, and then it stays that way until you get better.
And I think that's why
your character gets better. Even
the characters are so tanky, especially in the beginning, because they use this progression of skill and your stats and everything. Of course, it's going to be terrible in the early.
That should be scaled.
But like in Arkham Asylum, and particularly, right? There's no stats and anything to get involved. No. So your damage you do is probably set to a certain amount, that doesn't change depending on no matter what difficulty you want. So it allows you to still be strong, no matter what difficulty. Because I was scared when I played. I was like, "Oh, geez, Heart's gonna be a fucking nightmare." But I'm playing. I'm like, I'm taking goons out left and right. All I have to do is make sure I dodge. Get better with dodging, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of like a way they at least could have looked at old Arkham games as inspiration.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, Gotham Knights, and then a game called Evil West. This came out a while ago. It was getting. I put it on the list because it was getting a lot of press. I don't even know why. It's not necessarily a AAA game, but it was getting a lot of. I've seen it everywhere. And it ended up just doing fine. Okay, so.
Oh right. See now this.
But at least it looks fun though. I would play it, but it was just like
this is a game. A couple of days. The reason I had to check it up because it sounded very similar. I wasn't sure if it was Evil West or something like that. But this game was recommended to me from my channel by a friend of mine, Vox Gaming, and he said this looks right up your sort of street. And I was like, it's Danny Trejo they've been using as the hype guy in the advert, and you're like, what? Yeah. You got Danny Trejo, but they are unashamedly AA. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes, that's
what want to be a really good AA game,
which is fine if that's what it wants to be. But for some reason, it was just getting so much press. So I was like,
it got I
don't know why, but because it ended up doing okay. It does what it needs to do.
7 out of 10 game,
but it's like okay. I'll still play it. It looks kind of cool.
It looks
Old West with vampires. I mean, I'll play it. But definitely it doesn't help contribute to the greater problem this year. And then lastly, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, mainly because of performance issues. Trust me, I know people. It is Pokemon's best-selling version of the game so far in the series. It sold like 10 million in 3 days. So I'm not trying to say, it's not good, I guess. But like, we've never had a Pokemon game with this many performance issues ever. Pokemon has always been polished in that regard. Yeah, there's been some glitches here and there over the years and shit like that, but generally, like as far as like if you found glitches, you had to find these glitches back in the day. You actually had to look for them. But like now, people are just like, I can just see shadows coming in and out of the game. Like I could see tearing all the time. People are reporting just general issues just playing the game. And it's like, fucking hell, man. Like, can we not just get one polished game from a AAA release? You know what I mean? So it's like, so yeah, that's, as you can tell, we spent more time on the bad than the good, and for good reason. It's just we haven't, polish is just out the window more or less when it comes to just big games, which is funny because they're the ones with the most amount of money. And I was watching a podcast the other day, and I think the big problems that they have with just gaming in general also because every game, it wants to be a 50-hour epic like RPG or whatever, and they feel that they're just tired of that. And I feel like that might be part of the problem. You know what I mean? It's like not every game. I mean, I as a business person, I know why, but as a gamer, it's like it's terrible because it's forcing the industry to shift in a certain way. But not every industry, not every studio, not every publisher is able or ready to do that type of game. Not every fucking game needs to be 30, 40, 50 plus hours. Back in the day, that was only for RPGs, JRPGs. That was it. That was the only games that did it. And now every game wants to do that.
I hear what you're saying. Like, Mick, my taste. I actively seek out those longer games. But then, to become invested in those longer games, obviously it has to hit right. So, like, Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Origins and Valhalla, they hit right. I spent 240 hours on Valhalla just because I loved it so much, and and I had to come away from that game pretty much for mental health reasons more than it was due to like the fact that I was just like, I have to be done with this now. It has to end. It has to end eventually. But I mean that's fine. But like I don't expect, as a gamer, I don't expect every game to give me that. I've fallen in love with a game called Deep Rock Galactic, which every time you sort of deploy on a mission, the level is generated, so no two missions is ever going to be the same. Is it as polished as, say, Assassin's Creed? No, it's not. But like the fact that it's a fun concept, it's a great thing, keeps its replayability, and that's, I think, how a studio gets replayability, because replayability is value for money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, ultimately, that's in the equation. That is it. So replayability is value for money. I spend £70 on this, and I get 200 hours out of it. That's a better deal than spending £70 on a game and getting 10 hours gameplay out of it. I will argue that point, all day long. So this Deep Rock Galactic, the way it gets its longevity is by trying something different. It doesn't go with the massive, intricate story and, all this other stuff. It just goes with, okay, well, what we're going to do is each level's no two levels are going to be the same. So it gives you that unknown element. So every time you deploy it, blah. So maybe, it's the uniqueness of the game is a factor. All I know is that I as a gamer feel this year more than most has been insulting. It's been insulting. It's we're going to charge you even sort of the longevity of the generations. When we bought the PlayStation 3, they said it would be 10 years until the 4. It was 5 years. They didn't give you a discount on the 4 because of that. They just charged you more than they ever charged for the 3. It was the same with the 5, and it will be the same with the 6 and the 7. Technology, it improves at a fast rate, but they never ever seem to be giving anything back to the community that supports them, that puts the bread and butter on their table. They, oh, okay, so we're gonna. We're gonna charge you this, and we'll pay it because you want it, right? So, then we're gonna charge you this so you can play with it online. Then we're gonna charge you this, and I don't like when things get pushed back. I've said this loads of times. If a game gets pushed back, good, push it back, finish that shit. I'm so sorry we didn't get it finished and polished on time. It's going to be 6 months. Good, thank you for being honest and saying, we ain't finished it yet. It's hard. Life's tough, right? We ain't met our deadline. Okay, cool. I'm a human being. I accept that. Make it right. But now, 9 out of 10 people in that situation, like we say, for example, Sonic Frontiers, I feel, you're gonna put a game out there, and you're gonna charge people full price as if it's a finished product, and it isn't. And then because they know before they release it that it's not finished. And then they're going to turn around to the community and go, oh, we're so sorry, but don't worry, there'll be a free update in a week. And then a week later, you get part of it fixed. And then 3 days after that, you get another little part of it fixed. Then you get another little bit and another little bit. That is a work in progress. That is not a finished article. If it needs 7 little updates after it's released to polish it, then it's not finished. And that's what upsets me, because it generates the hype, it generates hype, and you get hyped, and then you're left with an empty feeling, and that's not what we game for. We game to fill that empty feeling. We game to have those personal moments, not to have that disappointment. And I do.
Your issue permeates beyond this year.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been saying this years.
And you can even argue traces both back to the PS3 360 era, when developers were able to patch games. When they figured that they could patch games later and fix problems after the fact. Which, I mean, and the reason for that, I mean, you can even get more meta. We can talk about crunch. We can talk about workplace environments across the entire industry, no matter what country or studio, big or small, you're in. That's the problem that pushes a lot of these decisions to be made. Sometimes their fans are even forced. So we're like, we have to ship it out, but we'll just patch it later, for one reason or another that we'll never know. But one thing I wanted to bring up, which I think is just a good representation to how bad this year is. So the Game Awards coming up in a couple weeks, okay? And the Game of the Year nominees tells you exactly how this year has been. There were 6 nominees, and they are 4. Okay, 3 of them make sense. Okay, Elden Ring, God of War, Horizon Forbidden West. Okay, those are the 3 that make the most sense.
They do make sense.
The other 3, A Plague Tale Requiem, which good game, but Game of the Year.
No.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 on the Switch, which I guess probably just put in there because just to make it 6 titles.
It's the Switch. They need to have a Switch game.
Representation of the Switch, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
But then if that was the case, why would you put Kirby? Like, I feel like Kirby should have been a much better choice.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, Xenoblade Chronicles and Stray.
Oh,
I'm not
Stray
kidding
was a good.
you.
Stray
That's
was
the
a
thing.
good game.
Yeah, that's the thing. Stray's the wild card. People are like, "Ooh, Stray might actually win."
It should, as a big fuck you to the whole gaming industry.
Dude, I am so hoping Stray wins. It will blow my mind.
This game of the year is something I wanted to talk about in this with you. Not talk about, but just to mention. I played Ghost of Tsushima recently, right? So this is part of the reason why I got the PlayStation Premium. Okay, cool. So I described that they're the games I look at and I go, I'm going to play this on release, but I'm not prepared to pay full price, right? Ghost of Tsushima fell into that category. When that came out, Game of Year contender, I think, did it win Game of Year? Did it beat AC Valhalla?
No, it did not.
Right.
No, that came out the same year as Last of Us 2, and Last of Us 2 won Game of the Year.
Right, okay. Fair play. But yeah, so anyway, but it was a contender, right? It was in the list.
Yes, absolutely in the list.
And right, so I'm like, all right, cool, this game's going to... Right. Now, it's a fantastic game. Don't get me wrong. The sword combat's brilliant. It has everything. But there was 2 mechanics in that game, and I've said it multiple times whilst live playing the game. There's 2 mechanics. There's the climbing mechanic and the swimming mechanic. Now, if Jin falls into water, he suddenly turns into Tommy Vercetti in Grand Theft Auto Vice City, right? There's no water textures. You literally see his legs. It becomes It's Minecraft Steve, man. It becomes Minecraft Steve in water. I'm like, really? And it's not even just like oh, you shouldn't really be in the water. There are actually missions where you have to go on boats and swim and all the rest of it. And I'm like, this isn't finished. Every other aspect of this has got beautiful textures and and then it literally descends into comedy levels of graphic. And it's the same with you remember in the old Tomb Raider games, like the original Tomb Raiders, where you'd be jumping against a wall, convinced that there was a ledge that you could grab onto, and Lara's quite blocky, and she's like just jumping against the wall. It's like that trying to climb in that game, unless you're following a predetermined climbing route. And you say just, oh, hang on, there's a rock there. I might be able to jump over that. If it isn't intended to be jumped over, you got Lara Croft against the wall. I'm like, this is a PS4 game. Like, this does not... How was this in any way on the Game of the Year list? I mean, it's fine. Make a shit game. Fair enough. But, like, the fact that it was on the Game of the Year list just said to me when I was playing it, I was like, this is what's becoming... This is where it's going wrong. There's just too... People are just... It's just too much... stuff is just not ready.
I can't speak to that because I haven't played it. I haven't, and I don't really want talking about it particularly, so I can't really speak to what you experienced. One day I'll get to it, and I can maybe talk to you about it privately. But these water mechanics pretty doo doo. So time will tell. I know some of you guys have played it. Hey, did you guys have the same problem that he did? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I don't know. But sound off if you did. But I get your point though.
Yeah, it's that would never have been a Game of the Year contender 5 to 10 years ago. No way. That would have been seen through. Yeah. It would have been, it's a good game, but this is wrong. But now it's like, that's why we charge £70 for it.
That was a couple years ago. I don't remember what was on the list 2 years ago overall. But I do know, so last year, It Takes Two won Game of the Year at the award show. That is. And so it's interesting when you look at the industry and you're like, oh, that one, right? When Resident Evil 8 came out the same year, right? And it's like, huh. So so you start thinking, okay, maybe the industry is going in a positive route because that game at least was polished. At least it fucking had no problem. It may not be co-op, may not be your thing, but like you can't say it wasn't a polished game.
It was a good looking game.
Yeah, it was a great game, functioned well, no issues. You didn't hear about people talking about like, oh, this tearing here and that there, and it was like, no, none of that really. So it was like, okay, things may be looking up. But then you look at this year and you look at the fact that only 3 of those games are actually like really good, solid, polished, great games. And the other one of them still polished, right? Is a polished game, but I mean, obviously, it's. I loved it too. I played it twice, PS4 and PS5.
You played it twice.
Yeah, got the platinum for both versions. Okay, I like Stray.
Yeah, shit. I played the 5 version. I fucking
and it's
what
great.
A game.
What a nice, fun little game, right? So I'm not saying it's polished, but it's definitely not on the same level as the other 3 games. And then Plague Tale, great game, fun game, but like no one was expecting that of Game of the Year. And then and the Xenoblade Chronicles, but I'm sure is great, but like it's on the Switch. I don't fucking know. I know that series' Herald is pretty solid, but I don't know much about it. But it's like it just tells you the state of this year when they have to scrape to pick up games that are probably that are indie and AA at best for Game of the Year. That tells you like
Stray was an indie game, right?
Yeah, that says that. Yeah, you have to go for indies and AA. Like I mean, Stray might be considered single A, maybe because it is pretty damn polished.
It is quite polished, but
but still, it's a very small scale game, and they have to scrape the bottom. You have to basically pull anything that is just polished and doesn't have egregious problems. They grabbed. They were like, okay, cool, we'll grab it. You will count. I bet you, if GT7 didn't have all those microtransaction bullshit and some other issues with it, I bet you that would have been in there too. Even though racing games usually don't, I bet you it would have if it didn't have those problems. You know what I mean? Like because it's so close.
I mean, the beginning of this podcast, you said, on my list, we're not going for sport franchises and franchises like CODs and Formula Ones. Genuinely, if I didn't have like the Formula One game, and
it was good, I heard it was good.
If I didn't have the Formula One game and those sport franchise games that I play, or I would probably not have any idea for my channel.
You would be sitting on your butt every day, staring into the distance.
I know exactly, and even now, it attests to it that I'm now going to just look backwards instead of forwards. There's only one game now that I'm looking forward to, and that is Dead Island 2. That is it. That's the only game I'm looking forward to, and that will probably disappoint me.
I don't think there's a single game that I know of next year. Okay.
Oh no, wait. No, I'm wrong. Sorry. Because this is gonna sound bad. There is a couple of games I'm looking forward to. You got Rocksteady's Wolverine game is coming out at some point.
Wait, that's Insomniac's.
Insomniac, sorry, it's around the wrong way. Rocksteady's doing Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Rocksteady doing Suicide Squad. That looks because Rocksteady, so it's gonna be more Arkham. That looks like it might be good. Insomniac, the Spider-Man people are doing the Wolverine one, and the Dead Island 2. Those are the only 3 games that will get a look in for me next year.
I don't even know if this is out next year, but
they're probably not even out.
No, the game I'm
okay.
Actually, no, I don't know when the release dates are. This thing, I don't know, but I'm excited for the Wolong Fallen Dynasty, which is made by the guys that made Neo. So I'm excited for that because I love me some Neo. And then the Lies of Pi with the Pinocchio Souls-like, mainly because it's Pinocchio. Like it's just really interesting. It's like one of the most unique twists on a Souls-like we've ever really had. So I like the idea of taking like fairy old tales and stuff like that are usually whimsical and childish and making them hella fucking dark and evil. I mean, that's why everyone loved the Alice Madness Returns. Because like we took like a child. I mean, that was always trippy as shit, but like it was for children and whimsical. They're like, nah, man, dark that shit up. And I like that idea with Lies of Pi. So I'm interested in that. But I don't know when they're out. Maybe next year, 2024. I don't know. I don't care because, like yourself, I have to go to the past as well. I have a bunch of games I bought over several different sales on PlayStation that I have, and I'm just going to play all those between like 4 to 2 years old or so, and I'm probably going to be much better because even if these games aren't necessarily bad, like I think you've done this many times in other various mediums or outlets, but like a lot of games are just the same. It's all the same formula, the same structure.
It's meh. Captain Noodle said that to me the other day. He said he used the word meh, and I thought
it's a good way to put a lot of these games.
Word. Yeah, games are meh.
A lot of games are meh. A lot of games I mentioned that were on the bad list. They're not necessarily bad, but meh. They're just meh. Yeah. And we've had too much meh this year as well.
I mean, like, let's not confuse things though. I don't expect, one AAA monster every single month of the year. I don't expect.
not. No,
I would be happy with 2, 3 games in a year that I would pay full price for and be happy with. That's it. That's all I ask for is 2 or 3 games where you get the follow through on the hype. That's all I want.
Yeah.
I like when I look forward to Gotham Knights. I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be brilliant. Oh my god, this is gonna be brilliant. And then you get it and it's not, and that hurts.
Oh yeah,
it hurts. So all I want is just 1 or 2 experiences per year where it doesn't hurt. It doesn't, where it's just, actually, yeah, man, I'm glad I bought this on the day it released.
Yeah, that's why I say this all the time with David. I tell him on the podcast, I say that's why I don't buy games anymore. That's why I don't buy. Well, I don't buy. Topical new games anymore. I don't. I haven't.
You wait until it's
and even
and then pick it up on sale. Yeah,
that's why. Gosh, the last game I bought on release. Oh gosh, like it might have been Neo 2 years ago. Like I just don't buy games that are and they're usually games that like there's just no doubt. There's just no fucking doubt that maybe the game, even if the game maybe not get reviewed well, I know I will love it. Right? I will fucking be stoked. Oh no, I bought Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart on launch day. That was last year. That was I think the last game I bought on launch.
It's Ratchet, man.
And because it's Ratchet, I know even if the reviewers tank on Ratchet,
you're going to enjoy it.
I will love the shit out of it. Nothing will stop me from loving that game. And so, like that's why, because you look at this year, you look at every year, and it's just like most games are just like, there's very little that attracts me that really speaks to me. And that's also partially because the games are so generic and samey. Even if it is fun, even if it is rewarding, to say that it really speaks. That's why it took me so long to play God of War 2018. That's why I played it last year.
I played it this year.
Yeah, that's why it took so long. I mean, I finished it, but that's why it took me so long.
The reason I didn't finish it though was because of the difficulty setting. So I started it.
Yours was
I started it. What it was I started it on hard, and it was really, really tanky. And then when I took it down 1 notch to medium, it became too easy. So instantly, I can't play it anymore. How am I supposed to play it? Because it wasn't the case where on the hard difficulty it just became easier to kill me. It just they became too tanky. Yeah. So there was no other setting. It was like you've now, I needed an easy hard. I needed an additional mode in there. Because I don't feel that they based the difficulty settings particularly well. Most people who love that game just went normal and just pained it through. Because I'd had the experience of it on hard and then the normal mode became too easy, I'm playing a game that was no challenge. So then instantly it's just there's no challenge there, so I don't want to play it.
You know what I should do? I should send you my new game plus file. So that way you can start the game on hard or whatever, but you'll be kitted up to like maybe take them out a little bit faster. Even if they are tanky, you'll be stronger. Maybe I should try to find a way to send you my save file. Because also, even if they do get harder later on, you actually get special gear that are only available in the new game plus to match it to continue matching it. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe that might solve your problem. But anyways, but that's why, right? And like I played Horizon Zero Dawn this year.
I need to play those.
This year, I played. It came out 2017. I played it 5 years later.
Yeah,
right.
I need to play those.
I have so many games that are.
They're worth it as well, though, aren't they?
When I finally played them, I'm like, yeah, I'm happy I'm playing it. But the reason why it took me so long because like it never like reached out, wanted grabbed my heart, and was like, yes, I need to play this. I guess I'm just too fucking jaded. I'm only 29. I'm already fucking jaded of this industry. Already it's already fucked me over enough times. So
I'm 37, and I remember playing I remember playing Civilization 1 on an Amiga 500, and it was 4 floppy disks, and and it was just top down. It was like tic-tac-toe grid, and I played that for days and days and days.
Yeah, and I remember playing Crash 2 on the PS1 with a joystick that did not even have analog sticks yet because they weren't invented, and just replaying those levels over and over again, and having the time of my life.
And now we can't.
And
we can't find a game that inspires.
And I can't even find a game that inspires me. Like, I'm not inspired by most games anymore. Like,
so
I have
there's
so many
our
games.
Answer, it's us.
I got so many games on my dresser that have been sitting there for years because I just haven't played them yet. Because I'm just like, maybe now, maybe later. I don't really care. Like, I have Bloodborne on my shelf. I have Fallout 4 on my shelf. I have the BioShock collection on my shelf. It's just, I mean, I play 3 in New Vegas, and I know Fallout 4 doesn't hold up, but I'm still going to play it. But like, I have all these good games, big budget games on my dresser that a lot of people love, millions, whatever, thousands of people love. And I'm just like, I'll play it. I'm sure it will be fun, but it doesn't, I don't have that passion heart like I used to. Like, I guess I've been so jaded, and so me personally, I haven't experienced like your pain because I don't buy games. I just watch everyone be sad instead of me being sad. But like I'm just like basically down to like a very small selection of games that will make me happy. Like, so like there's Ratchet, there's Crash, Mirror's Edge, Tony Hawk, Skate, Neo, maybe like Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, like the old school PS2 mascots, whatever.
Yeah,
that's it.
that's it.
That's it. And since most of those games aren't going to get a new one, I'm fucked. I'm just like, I'm just never going to be happy again.
Never going to be happy again.
I mean, I'm afraid that's where you're going to end up too at one point. You're like, only thing for me now is Stellaris, Deep Rock Galactic, and Civ. That's it. Oh, and F1.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that makes me happy anymore. But at least F1 year. I mean, it's been pretty good last couple of years, man. I've been seeing the reviews on it. They've been pretty solid games.
F122. It's been a bit annoying. It had
no
F122. No, it's solid now. But like, there was a lot of updates post release.
Oh,
so there was with like AI fixes and stuff.
Oh,
so like,
that's what you were telling me about.
AI straight line speed.
It was broken. It was absolutely broken
as fuck.
Yeah,
and like you look at the world, like on some of the harder difficulties, so you turn the AI right up and they're lapping faster than the world record for that particular track.
You told me that.
It's just this sort of shit.
Yeah,
it's like, come on, man. You know, like the way me and my pals who were playing it talked about it, but like, right, so the way it should be is it ain't hard, is that the highest level difficulty, the AI drivers will be doing the world record time, right? That's how you would sort of you would, or maybe just shy of that, you know. But you would, so it isn't that difficult to really structure the difficulty on a game that is essentially lap times.
That's all it is. Yeah, I mean, I played F1 too. I know too. You know, like that's all it is. Like, you're trying to get the best lap and win the race. You know, but like, and expert's already hard. I mean, maybe not for you at this point, but experts it's no joke. You know,
I play just shy of expert now.
Oh, I thought you played expert most of the time.
I used to on the older versions. Now EA have it. The way it's scaled up is I play on like 75, which is like the top.
Oh, they have percentages now? Oh.
So it goes 1 to 110.
Oh.
And then each one is bracketed.
Yeah. Okay.
So like the hard is like 65 to 75. And then expert is 75 to 95. And then you have master. But yeah,
okay,
I mean, I still play. I'm still
on expert? There. Are you on expert then or hard?
I'm on the cusp of expert, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're playing now. I'm playing in a league, so all the human players, or most of the human players, are actually faster than the AI, which is kind of how we want it.
Yeah.
So I could probably go up another 5-10 points if I was playing single player for a really sort of immersively hard experience. I wouldn't be able to make any mistakes.
Yeah, I haven't gone past 2012 yet. I have 2013 on my dresser that I will get to pretty soon. I'm going to catch up to you guys. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get you guys. I'm going to get there one day. I'm going to have all the platinums all the way through, my way on my way to 22. But I remember playing, like, I had to play expert on a few of those, and expert is rough.
It's tough.
But hard, actually, you were talking about difficulty scaling. Hard is actually so manageable.
Yeah.
Like, you can actually make a couple mistakes and be fine.
Yeah.
Even without, and I don't play with a wheel either, you know, so I don't have that precision that you have. And
there's an argument. This is a whole other debate, but there's.
Okay. We'll leave that for another day.
Between wheel and controller.
Okay. We'll leave that another day. But anyway, though, I mean, I was like, So I had to play hard a few times for some trophies, and I was like, fine. I was like, what happened? And like, I thought this. I mean, expert was a nightmare. Like, I was expecting hard to be still pretty crazy, but no, I was like, I could probably play hard regularly.
Yeah.
I didn't, but I could. But yeah. But anyways, man, sorry this is a long one, guys. But I mean, you got Rob in the house, and so much to go over, guys. It's just this year was not really good for games. Nope. It's just the lack of overall polish in most games, or like you said, not living up to their whatever hype they. I'm okay. By hype, we don't mean, every game's hitting, records, but it's like for whatever game is trying to be, just being that, living up to that, and doing it well. And it's just no matter what size studio they were, where they came from, it's just we saw more failures than successes this year. And I mean, you look at the Game Awards as the nominees, that is your biggest tell. That is your biggest. There have been some years where it is stacked. You really don't know who's going to win, right? Like I remember 2017 or 18, those were some good years. You didn't know who was going to win that one. No. Like it was good year, good pickings. But this year, it's like honestly,
who are we shouting Stray out?
I mean, I'm hoping Stray, but I know Elden Ring's going to win.
Do you think Elden Ring's going to win?
I think Elden Ring's going to win. Yeah. Yeah. I just if it doesn't, I'll be surprised. If Stray wins, if Stray fucking wins, I don't even.
I mean,
know.
Elden Ring probably. I mean, I have my own issues with that game. It's not that the game's bad. It's just it didn't appeal to me because I was just like, oh right, okay, again, George R. R. Martin. And you can probably see I have there you go behind me are his books, so I'm not like an anti George R. R. Martin person or anything, but like it just I don't know, it didn't hit for me, and
so I'm not saying I want it to win. I just know it will. Yeah, I want Stray to win. I want because I just mainly for the memes. I just wanted to win for the memes, honestly. Like could you imagine the internet losing its mind if Stray wins game?
Yeah.
It's like, can you imagine all the Dark Souls Stray memes that are going to be popping up if Stray wins? Like Stray's the boss that Dark Souls couldn't beat.
Exactly.
Or something like that. Like
you're gonna have your like tanked up character coming up. It's gonna be a cat there. Like
it's like, oh, okay, that's the one. I'm not fucking with that one. I'm not fucking with that boss. That's no joke. Yeah. Now that's the real Dark Souls. So yeah, I mean, who do you want to win? I mean, besides, is it Stray for you too, or you want someone else?
I want Stray to win because I want it to be a big fuck you to the community, to the industry, man. 100%. If Stray wins, it says fuck you. It says sort your shit out. That's what it says. You know what I mean? It really does.
True. That's true. Because even if you were to argue like, oh no, it's just the fucking memesters. Like, well, yes, to an extent, but if Stray came out in a better year, it wouldn't the memesters wouldn't have that much power because there would be no need for the memesters because you would have all these other good games that were out. So, I agree with you. It would even if it is a meme thing, it would also be a fuck you and also show you like you don't have like you see guys, you don't have to do all this other bullshit to have a fucking fantastic game. So, but do you think Elden Ring's going to win, or do you think someone else is going to win?
It probably will, and that just says that. To be honest, Elden Ring winning will just be like me going, "Yeah, see, that's what's wrong with gaming right now," because you're rinsing like it's like I know it's not a Dark Souls game, but it is. But like
it is, it's an open world Dark Souls game.
Yeah, you're rinsing, something. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I have no issue with like number 2, number 3, number 4 in a series, but. I don't know. It's just like, come on. It's getting boring. It's all boring.
You're just exhausted because it's in every other game. So if it stayed within its series, you probably wouldn't feel that way. Yeah, I imagine. No,
I mean, for me, that's why I want Stray to win because of the games listed that we've talked about, Stray is probably a big claim, but Stray is probably the game I've enjoyed most this year. Of any other game.
It was a lot of fucking fun.
I did it in 3 live streams. I fucking loved it, every second of it, and I would play again.
It was the only new game this year that I got.
Well, what does that tell you? You bought a new game.
And I didn't even buy it. I got it for free because it's on PS Plus.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
Same here, man.
but still, it was the only
you
new
downloaded
game.
a new game.
Yeah, I downloaded an actual game that came out this year, and I played it.
Trending.
When I am able to download a plethora of games from this year at my will, because I have the PlayStation Plus Premium, and I don't because I don't care.
Exactly.
Because I'm still busy playing Neo from 2017 and playing WRC 6 from 2016.
That's why it has to win.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you guys vote because there's public voting for this too. So go out and vote for Stray. Vote for Stray just because. Vote for the cat. Vote for the cat. Cat for president. Cat for president, everybody. But anyways, we're gonna wrap us up here. Rob, always a joy. Always a joy to have you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry it took so long to have you again, but
no, you're all right.
Always a joy. Keep your eyes open, guys. He and I might have something special coming up pretty soon. So keep your eyes open for that.
I'm very excited. For that.
We're both very excited. It falls our butts, so we're both very excited. And we're gonna wrap it up here. Rob, is there anything you need to say or you want to say?
Not really. Not really. To be honest, thank you for having me again. And it's been fun. It's a shame that we're talking about negative stuff maybe with the industry at the moment, but I think it will. I hope it picks up again.
Hope so. I mean, we got the Dead Space remake next year. Hopefully, start things off right.
That looks so good.
That might hopefully, and we have the Resident Evil 4 remake that hopefully will be good too. I mean, people have been kind of up and down, but I'm hoping that does well too.
But again, it just shows the we're
having to rely
on a remake again to get hype.
When is that? I mean, I bet you the remakes are going to do better than a lot of other games. So it's like,
I mean, what does that say? I mean, you could say there's a parallel with the movie industry as well because everything now is remakes of, we'll remake. It's
Well, I mean, you and I a bit different on that philosophy because I will eat remakes up all day, any day. But I hear the argument.
Yeah.
But it's just, man, I do love it when I get to play new games with like in a slightly different way. I like that. I like that new perspective. But I get what you're saying. It does, it's like it takes away creativity, originality. But like, but when the original stuff that we get is utter trash, it's like, well, I'd rather play something that I know works.
Play Stray.
So play Stray.
Play Stray. It works. It isn't broken.
Play Stray. It works. No, but that's the theme. It just works. It just works.
Yeah, exactly.
But like for real though, like not a lie. It actually does work. Anyway, so yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Cool. We will see you guys next week where I stay negative again and talk about Pokemon with David more in depth. Yeah, the negativity train don't end. It is supposed to be Christmas time. But the games don't make me happy.
I know, just sitting there with a Santa Claus hat on,
pretty
crying.
Much. I'm gonna have like an upside down one that's like or something.
Black and white instead of red and white.
Black and white. I like the way you think. Yeah, guys, we will see you. I will see you next time. He will see you again some other time. Check him out. He's usually live a lot of days in the week around like 10 a.m. West Coast time, which I imagine is like 8 p.m. GMT. Around that time?
No, but between 6 and 8. I go
6 and 8? Okay, 6 and 8 around that time. Whatever the fuck he feels like. He's Rob. He doesn't fuck what the fuck he wants. Fuck you.
Yeah, man.
He's playing GTA 4 right now. Trying to go back in the past, have a good time with that. And
we got GTA 4, GTA 3. I'm playing Vice City. I'm using the definitive trilogy.
All going on. He's playing classics.
And then I'm gonna do the 2 Red Deads. I might do Undead Nightmare, and then I'm gonna play Bully. So I've got a year of Rockstar. If you're into Rockstar games,
you should definitely play the Undead Nightmare after you finish Red Dead 1. Play Undead Nightmare.
I played it before.
Yeah. Okay, okay, yeah, it's great. Play it.
Yeah,
I played it twice. So
yeah, same. Man.
Yeah. So good times, good stuff on his channel. He won't be mad anymore when he's live streaming. He's playing good games. He'll be happy. Again. He'll be happy. Happy Big Rob is a good Rob. But yeah, guys, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. Goodbye.